I need sunglasses up here to be able to look at your beautiful faces. Welcome, all of you precious souls this morning, and all of you precious souls that are tuning in with us from around the world. Our activities yesterday were glorious, and hopefully all of yours, wherever you were glorious as well as you added your infinite light to this blessed planet in her ascension process. Several magnificent things have occurred now in preparation as we move forward toward our divine mission. After our divine template for the holy breath for Mother Earth that will now be breathed through every heart flame with every breath humanity takes, sustaining this precious planet in the frequencies of her new solar reality. We were able to work with the elemental kingdom, the mighty Elohim, beloved Neptune and Lunara, the directors of the water element, and the Undines, in an exquisite healing process for all of the waters of the world. Special healing activities have taken place through the water element for the past 30 years, beginning with the first Earth Summit in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, when 176 world leaders representing all the constituents of their countries and over 40,000 non-governmental organizations gathered together in Brazil for that summit, working in unison in inner and outer levels with the elemental kingdom. This was the outer world demonstration that the elemental kingdom needed in order to be willing to create a new covenant with humanity that would allow us to once again accept our responsibility as stewards of the earth. Because of the incredible abuse of power and the abuse of the atrocities we inflicted on the elemental kingdom, for eons of time, there has been a tremendous schism between the elemental kingdom and humanity. At that Earth Summit, a new covenant was established, and humanity collectively, through our I Am presences, agreed to begin working and healing through the best of our knowledge, ability, and the sacred gifts within each of us to heal the water element, which comprises 80% of the planet, 80% of our earthly bodies, reflecting our emotional bodies and the feeling nature of humanity, the elements, and the angelic kingdom serving the earth. Yesterday, through the 30th year expansion of assistance we have been given, this was able to be taken to a brand new level, and the emotional bodies of humanity were purged by their I Am presences in ways that we have not previously been able to experience. And the magnificent fifth dimensional solar undines of the water element were able to reflect their infinite blessings into the undines and every molecule of water, lifting it all into a new frequency that will reflect the heart-based patterns of the new heaven and the new earth. Once that facet of the divine plan was complete, another unprecedented event was able to occur within us. When we receive the infinite gift of life through our life force and the holy breath from the core of creation, the very heart of our Father, Mother, God, it always reflects the infinite, pristine perfection of all that is, the cosmic I Am, the magnificent, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent radiance of our Father, Mother, God. There is not a single electron of life that flows forth from the heart of God that does not reflect that mirror perfection of our Father, Mother, God. As that gift of our life force is breathed into our heart flames on our prana, now through our higher holy breath, it enters the divinity within our heart. And these patterns that enter our heart are stamped with our unique individual electronic light pattern, which reflects the sacred geometry of all creation. Like individualized snowflakes, there isn't a son or daughter of God throughout the whole of creation that has a reflection of their electronic light that is like any other son or daughter of God. These are unique geometric patterns for each of us. And as they enter our heart flame in the permanent seed atom of our heart, they are stamped with our individualized pattern. These pure, neutral electrons enter our heart and are stamped with our individualized pattern. That is how the universe knows what energy belongs to whom. And as we send forth our thoughts, words, actions, and feelings, this electronic light substance stamped with our pattern flows out into the universe. And as we send it forth through our creative faculties of thought and feeling, we qualify it with whatever our frame of mind, our emotions, and our feelings are at the time. After the activity of the healing that took place through the water element, we had an activity of sacred geometry. And as we observed the exquisite patterns of sacred geometry, each person's I am presence was able to activate the electronic light pattern within the permanent seed atom of our heart into a new, higher solar frequency. So now, as our life force is being sent forth, it is flowing into the physical plane with the potential of manifesting these brand new latent abilities that are going to be activated within our DNA at the completion of our mission this sacred and holy week. So what the beings of light want us to do as surrogates on behalf of humanity and holding this sacred transformer with our beloved sisters and brothers throughout the planet, projecting their light into this force field as well, exponentially expanding the power. This light is flowing into the heart of the newly ascended frequencies of Mother Earth and expanding out through the crystal grid system. And we are being asked to remember the reality of who we are and why we are here, and what we have been prepared to accomplish for literally eons of time. As this light flows into every heart flame, it is activating the immaculate concept that pulsates in the core of purity. These magnificent electrons that we receive are pulsating with the infinite perfection of God, stamped with our electronic light pattern, and then we qualify them with whatever our feelings are. When we qualify them with light, that expands the light within the electron. If we qualify them with negativity or fear or anger or greed or all the gross mutations of humanity's misqualified energy and our fragmented fear-based human ego, we do not contaminate the immaculate concept of the divine potential of our Father, Mother, God that pulsates in the core of that electron or that particle and wave of life. That perfection, the immaculate concept, the divine blueprint of the full potential of our Father, Mother, God is such infinite, radiant light that it cannot be contaminated. But what happens is our discordant frequency of vibration cloaks the electron. And the more we send forth the negativity, the denser our frequencies of vibration are, the more the light is blocked until the electrons are no longer able to emit that light. Now, collectively, that is what has happened to some of our sisters and brothers, and to all of us when we fell from grace. We're now in the process of awakening and transmuting that negativity and allowing the divine potential in every electron to start shining again and radiating forth. But many of our sisters and brothers are unable to raise their consciousness above the pain and suffering and oppressive energy in their own life experiences, that they can't even see that light or perceive that light. But we are one, and there is no separation. And the universal law is, as I am lifted up, all life is lifted up with me. What we are doing now, and when the infinite activities of light all over this planet are doing, are creating an upward rush of energy that is beginning to magnetize even the densest levels of consciousness, the recalcitrant souls that have blocked any memory whatsoever of their divine potential as sons and daughters of God, are beginning to lift up. And as this light flows into the planet, it pushes this negativity to the surface. The light that we are invoking enters that core of purity, and it expands within the electron. And under the direction of the I Am presence, which controls the perfect balance of each person's divine plan, the negativity involving that soul is pushed to the surface. And consequently, from outer world appearances, it looks like things are getting worse, because we can see the frequencies that we have released over lifetimes that are reflecting as poverty and pain and disease and all of the maladies in the outer world. We see those pushed to the surface. We see those manifesting in our lives, and we mistakenly think that things are getting worse, because what we don't see is the incredible light that is pushing that to the surface. So what we are witnessing in the outer world now is that negativity, that consciousness of our misqualified energies being pushed to the surface. And because there are souls in the outer world at this time, our beloved sisters and brothers that are just as magnificent, powerful light beings as any other radiant being of light throughout the whole universe, that have just forgotten that, their light is being pushed to the surface and pushing their challenges and their negativity from past lifetimes. And often it's being amplified by the outer world knowledge. For instance, this, as we witness around the world, that there is so much fear, and there is so much anger, and there is so much victim consciousness of the having been done wrong, and that we have to fight, and we have to have this us against them consciousness, and good against evil. And we don't know who to blame for all this pain. So we blame the other. We blame other religions. We blame other cultures. We blame other races, other nationalities, other genders, other lifestyles. Anybody that's not exactly like us, it's their fault. That's why this is happening in my life. That's why I don't have a job. That's why I don't have enough money. And I have to fight like hell, as we've heard over and over again, in order to get. And that's exactly what it is. Fighting is like hell. And it is being manifest in the outer world exactly what is the opposite of what we are to create. So today, in our special activities of light, our beings of light, the entire company of heaven, as we've said, this magnificent amphitheater of light is encircling this planet and for the magnificent activities unfolding this week. The luminous beings of light throughout the whole of creation have projected their presence into this amphitheater that extends into the heavenly realms as far as the eye can see. The mighty Elohim, the builders of form, the collective I am presence, the luminous I am presence of each individual person in that magnificent thought form, and our beautiful breath activity, that living activity of the holy breath that is now being breathed by every single person on this planet, is standing in readiness to assist with this healing process. And what has to occur at this time, the beings of light said, contrary to outer appearances, we are far closer, even the masses of humanity, of reaching that critical mass of consciousness that will create the quantum shift from separation and duality into the realization of the oneness of all life. When we begin tapping into that oneness of all life, which is going to occur as we truly manifest these latent abilities in the higher level of divine consciousness that is now being programmed into our electronic light patterns and our new cellular structures from our DNA, we are going to recognize the wonder of the oneness of life. And we are going to revel in our diversities. And we are going to grow and learn from our unique differences. And we are going to create win-win situations and recognize what works for one area of the planet and how we can work together and how the highest knowledge and wisdom from every belief system, every culture can enhance and build on the other. And anything that doesn't resonate with that oneness, any feelings of fear or any feelings of unworthiness. I mean, myriad numbers of us have been raised with a consciousness from our spiritual leaders who we were to trust and thought they knew how best to guide us. We have been told that we are worthless sinners and that we are worms in the dust, and we become who we believe we are. So how can we possibly recognize that we are sons and daughters of God, and that all our Father, Mother, God have is ours, and that we are powerful beyond our knowing by just going within to the divinity of our heart flame and tapping that exquisite oneness within our heart? This situation of us against them, this conflict, this belief of fear and anger, and that I am a victim and you have done this to me. That consciousness is absurd in the reality of the truth of what is. We have all been through myriad lifetimes. And when we are volunteering to come into this physical plane, our I am presence works with us, with the karmic board and the company of heaven. And we choose what experiences we think will give us the greatest opportunity to grow and to learn and to become co-creators with our Father, Mother, God. And we have all, at this point in our evolution, been every race, every nationality, every lifestyle, every culture, every gender, every socioeconomic status, everything. We've experienced it all. And we have come together now with that collective experience to create this transformer. And the beings of light said those that are magnetized to physically be in this presence and to tune in from consciousness around the world collectively represent the experiences that humanity has had through all lifetimes since the initial impulse of our fall from grace. So as we are lifted up and as we are moving through these tremendous shifts of consciousness, all life is lifting up with us. And we are creating this magnificent upward shift into the full momentum of the new heaven and the new earth. And you know, through all of the prophecies, they talk about the new heaven and the new earth, and that in the new earth, there is no aging and disease, there is no war, nobody's struggling or fighting to try to pay their mortgage or have food. We create through our latent abilities that we are developing, we manifest through the unformed primal light substance. We have been through the shift of the ages. And what the shift of the ages is, and this is what began with the first harmonic convergence and was brought to a magnificent quantum shift on December 21st and 22nd in 2012. We had a lot of discussion about harmonic convergence, and most people were focusing on the 5,125-year completion of a facet of the Mayan calendar. But the beings of light told us that the shift of the ages is far greater than that. The shift of the ages is a moment in time that happens every so many millions of years, when cycles within cycles within cycles throughout the whole of creation dovetail into one rhythmic momentum with the heartbeat of our Father, Mother, God. And during that cosmic moment, our Father, Mother, God inbreathe all creation up the spiral of evolution to the next octave of our learning experience. Now, we missed one of those shifts when we moved from the third to the fourth. And I won't go into all the details at that time, but the reason we didn't move forward into the fourth dimension is because when we moved through the shift, what used to happen, and this was millions of years ago when we moved on an in-breath from the third to the fourth dimension, when we normally made that shift, any souls that couldn't withstand this higher vibration were left behind. And that was one of the most tragic things that happened to an evolving son or daughter of God. When it was time for that shift, the beings of light have revealed to us that the earth was still vibrating at the pristine perfection of the Garden of Eden, and we hadn't experienced any aspect of the fall. And so we volunteered from our heart-based level of consciousness to allow the other souls that were going to be left behind in our solar system, asking our Father, Mother, God if they could be transferred to the inner realms of Earth and born through the natural process, thinking that we would be able to love them and to help them transmute the negativity effectively enough that we would catch up with the rest of our solar system and move forward. The beings of light said it was a gift of compassion and divine love above anything that had ever been offered by the sons and daughters of God. And no one knows, because of our free will choices, how those things are going to work out specifically. But the heart desire and the intent was that we would be able to succeed. So that experiment was allowed. And at a cosmic moment, the rest of our solar system moved into the fourth dimension, and we remained in the third dimension. The souls that were referred to by the beings of light as the laggard souls were transferred to the inner realm and began evolving. We've all heard the expression, we don't know what we don't know. The evolutions of Earth had no consciousness and no understanding of the depth of misqualified energy and negativity. Because if a soul was left behind, it wasn't souls that were trying and just making mistakes. These were dyed-in-the-wool, opposition to the light, black magician kind of consciousness. And once these souls were old enough to have some of their karmic liabilities released to them, those discordant frequencies that had never been experienced by the evolutions of Earth began to overwhelm the Earth. And that is what caused us to begin experimenting with our gift of life in ways that were not based in love. And it is because we got in this mess, this is an important part of us to understand, because we are getting assistance from the whole of creation to succeed in our ascension process. And that's because we got in this mess out of the greatest love and compassion that had ever been released by the sons and daughters of God. And nobody has been willing to give up on us. And we have been blessed and assisted for eons of time. Now this experiment that has never been attempted, never has a planet that's fallen to this depth of negativity been given the opportunity to move through two-dimensional shifts. So we are moving and have progressed through the third, through the fourth, into the initial impulse of the fifth, and now into the initial frequencies of our new solar reality. So what is happening now as we move into those frequencies, there's in those dimensions, the human miscreations cannot abide. If anyone in that frequency tries to act out in that way, they fall back into the denser frequencies. And what is happening now in the outer world is that there are sons and daughters of God who are misqualifying their gift of life and don't know any better, literally think it's okay for them. They believe through that fear consciousness that that's how they're going to survive, that there is not enough for all of us, that if they don't greed and hoard, and if they don't put other people down, and if they don't fight for the supremacy of who they are and their religions and their thought forms and their beliefs and all of those things, that they're not going to survive. This is what our mission is today. This activation has taken place now, this healing through the emotional bodies of every person, so that the love nature within them is pulsating in their emotional body, which releases 80% of their life forms and their life force, and their activation of their geometric sacred patterns of their electronic light patterns. So now, today, and we're going to have other activities throughout the day, but this morning we are going to have an activity of light where our beloved Father, Mother, God, and the beings of light assist in shifting the consciousness of these souls, freeing them from the manipulation, the control, the fear-based consciousness of us against them that they've been clinging to so tenaciously and fighting so hard to oppose and oppress. That is why these energies are coming up. And as I mentioned earlier, that they're very similar to all of the things that were happening in the 60s that began that original shift. And there were anti-war movements, and there were civil rights movements, and there were voting rights movements, and there were women's rights movements, and on, and the hippies came to the fore and were saying make love, not war, and using some psychedelic drugs that were opening their consciousness, moving forward. And there was political corruption taking place, and Vice President Spiro Agnew had to resign because of corruption within a year of when President Nixon had to resign because of the corruption. And all of that negativity was fighting. But it began creating a shift of consciousness. They stopped the draft for the war victims. Women started getting more rights over their bodies and their ability to make decisions about their lives. There was a voting rights movement. There were civil rights movement. There were new levels of consciousness and laws and things established in government. And there was progress in moving forward. Now we're experiencing the same identical things, and those terrified of not being able to control and oppress and manipulate have done everything they can to reverse all of that progress. They have no ability whatsoever to succeed in that. But it's not the outer world things that we're to be paying attention to. It's the shift of consciousness. This takes place within us. And that's what's happening this week as we move through this process. The activity today, a consecration and a lifting into new frequencies for our Father, Mother, God. We are being asked to hold the sacred space for the I Am presence of every person to fulfill this, the maximum that cosmic law will allow. And we're going to do this from one of Adi's beautiful videos. So just again, go within the divinity of your heart flame. Watch this video, listen to the words, allow those words to resonate within your heart flame, knowing that you are one and you are a surrogate on behalf of every precious son and daughter of God, and that every son and daughter of God has an I Am presence and is a divine child of God, has this magnificent shift that's taken place within their electronic light substance. And now this light is going to radiate through the core of purity, casting off those frequencies of discord, the cloaking of darkness that has blocked them from seeing the light. Regardless of how far their outer world experiences, their choices, their belief systems are from reflecting the oneness of life, we are one. And as we are lifted up, they are going to be lifted up too. And we begin the video. Beloved Father, Mother, God, from your glorious heart, I was breathed into being as a divinely conscious child of God. And into your loving heart one day, when my learning experiences on earth are complete, I shall return as my I Am presence, grown to full stature. I thank you for the privilege of having life and for having a physical embodiment during this cosmic moment on earth, when the sons and daughters of God who fell from grace eons ago will, at long last, co-create the experience of ascending into our full divine potential as sons and daughters of God on the fifth dimensional crystalline solar new earth. Beloved Father, Mother, God, thank you for allowing me and all of humanity to serve as instruments of God during this auspicious moment when our Mother God, the Holy Spirit, is reclaiming her rightful place of comprehensive divine love in every person's heart flame. I am deeply grateful to individually and collectively serve as a surrogate on behalf of all humanity. I now offer the cup of my consciousness as a holy grail through which the light of God will flow this sacred and holy day, to ensure that every person on earth will victoriously return to unity consciousness through his or her own endeavors. Through the grace of my Mother God's comprehensive divine love and my Father God's divine will and power, I am now reclaiming my full divine potential as a divinely conscious child of God. Beloved Father, Mother God, as I awaken into the enlightened state of unity consciousness, invest me with the power and love to magnetize and radiate forth with every thought, feeling, word, action, belief, and memory, the divinity of my I Am presence and the patterns of perfection for the new earth. I accept and know that as I awaken into unity consciousness, I am able to perpetually add to the light of the world. What I decree this day, I decree on behalf of every person on this planet, the elemental kingdom, and Mother Earth, in perfect alignment with each one's divine plan and the highest good for all concerned. With this knowing, I command, through the presence of God, I am. I am my I Am presence, and I am one with my Father, Mother God. With every breath I take, I am breathing the highest balanced and elevated prana and life force that I am capable of receiving. This holy breath is empowering all of humanity to clearly hear the inner voice of our I Am presence and the intuitive inner guidance from our Father, Mother God. From this sacred space of listening grace, I now hear my Father, Mother God speaking in the deepest recesses of my heart flame, and I listen. The divine words reverberating in my heart flame remind me that I am an instrument of God, and that I have come to earth during this critical moment to be the heart, head, and hands of God in the physical world of form. As I listen to these words, I remember. This remembrance stirs within me the inner knowing that I have been preparing for eons of time for my divine mission during this cosmic moment. Deep within the recesses of my heart, I know that I have all of the wisdom, strength, skill, knowledge, talent, and ability I need to succeed in fulfilling my mission, God victoriously. And I have the courage to act now. Suddenly, I hear the voice of God calling me to a higher octave of divine service. I respond with willingness and enthusiasm. The voice of God reveals to me that due to the need of the hour, a contingency plan for Earth has been set into motion, and my assistance is acutely needed in order for the plan to succeed. I joyously agree to serve in whatever capacity I am needed. The voice of God speaking within my heart flame reveals that the time is short and that I am needed as a surrogate in this unprecedented divine plan to serve as an instrument of God on behalf of all of humanity. In deep humility and compassion, I volunteer. I take a deep breath, and I feel myself spiraling up a scintillating shaft of light. In an instant, I realize I am standing in the pure land of boundless splendor and infinite light. In this wondrous place, I begin to hear the heartbeat of my Father, Mother God. As I assimilate this multi-dimensional experience with wonder and awe, the light of 1,000 suns seems to be radiating through my heart flame. Exquisite colors, fragrances, musical tones, and frequencies of vibration, beyond anything I have ever experienced, begin to permeate my being. This wondrous light enters the core of purity in every atomic and subatomic particle and wave of my earthly bodies, and all of the spaces in between these particles. I realize that my earthly bodies are being consecrated by my Father, Mother God, the cosmic I am, all that is. I feel a slight pressure on the top of my head, and I intuitively hear the voice of my Father, Mother God, issuing a divine edict within my heart flame. We are your Father, Mother God, and with this sacred fire from the core of creation, we now consecrate your earthly bodies. We consecrate your mind to be one with the divine mind of God. We consecrate your eyes to perceive the truth and to recognize perfection in all things. We consecrate your ears to hear the still small voice of God within your heart for guidance and illumination. This will allow you to truly listen and to respond with love to all those who communicate with you. We consecrate your lips to express only truth and to communicate clearly, openly, and honestly whenever you speak. We consecrate your nostrils to breathe in the perfectly balanced holy breath of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. This elevated holy breath will now revitalize, rejuvenate, restore, renew, and resurrect your earthly bodies with every breath you take. We now consecrate your heart to be the open door through which our comprehensive divine love and limitless abundance will now flow to bless all life. We consecrate your hands to bless and heal all that you touch. We consecrate your feet so that as you continue your earthly sojourn, you will walk the path of light and love as you fulfill your divine plan. You will reach your highest divine potential as a beloved son or daughter of God. Now, as your Father, Mother, God, we affirm that this consecration of your earthly bodies by sacred fire has been victoriously fulfilled for every man, woman, and child on earth in perfect alignment with each one's highest good. And so it is. Beloved Father, Mother, God, in deep humility on behalf of myself and all of humanity, I express my greatest love and gratitude in appreciation for this awesome gift of light. Allow me to be the open door for the light of God and a force of oneness and reverence for all life. Magnetize into my sphere of influence every person, place, condition, or thing that I can assist in any way with your infinite light. Give me the divine opportunity to love all life on this sweet earth free. I am open. I am willing. I am receptive. And I am grateful. I am God's infinite light in action on earth. And so it is, beloved. I am that I am.